This is an interesting one, and I think a very relevant one at the moment. What if you're doing all the relevant things for your mental health, like exercising, eating healthily, meditation, and your partner isn't? And they're looking at TV all day, and when you make suggestions, they think you're nagging and are affecting your energy. Do you just look after yourself and just leave them to vegetate and just try and keep yourself upbeat and leave them to it if they want to just be? One way of meditating on this, which I think is useful, is to recognize that in any given moment, there are, I suppose, three main categories of things. There are the things we can control, things we can't control, and there are things we can maybe indirectly control. So the example I often use of this is if you're the captain of a ship at sea, and if the weather is bad on a given day, it's very stormy, that's a good example of something you can't control. You can't change the weather. So the weather would be in the category of what you can't control. In the category of what you can control would be things like rigging the sails, turning the wheel of the ship, adjusting the rudder, working with your crew, calling on their support. They're things you can do. They're immediately to hand and you can work with them. And then there are things you can indirectly control, like the port that you're sailing to. So you can't just choose to be at the port, but you can make it much more likely that you will achieve that goal by clarifying it, choosing it, and then sailing in that direction. So you can't guarantee it, but it's certainly not like the weather that you've zero control over it. You can do things that will make it likely that it will happen, but it'll happen generally because of other actions you take. So when it comes to interpersonal relationships and connecting with other people, I suppose the tricky bit is to know which category that's in, because if we definitely can't create change, we definitely want to stop frustrating ourselves. We're better off accepting the weather how it is, and then looking at the available responses that we have in that moment. What can you do to look after yourself and to bring things forward? So in that type of example where there isn't a resonance or there isn't a shared appreciation maybe for being active in that moment, you can certainly lead by example, and that is a really useful thing to do, because sometimes it takes time, but by you embodying some of the qualities that you want, sometimes actions speak louder than words, and that has become appealing to the other person. You can certainly have the doorway open for them to get involved too. But of course you can't force the issue, and in those types of circumstances it may be better to focus on what is available to you, what you do have control over, and to do that. But, as I say, still leaving the door open for the other person to get involved if they wish. It's very complex whenever you're dealing with interpersonal psychology, because we have so much of our own stuff, and then the other person has their stuff. And when two people connect, they don't just add their stuff together, but they multiply. Your stuff and their stuff gets multiplied together. So there's so much stuff and it gets very, very complicated. Now again, it doesn't mean that can't be worked through to some degree, but it takes willing participants. Now one other thing that can be done here is if you can't engage on that level, it's finding another level to engage in. Is there something else you could be doing together, if not the thing that you're most interested in? So maybe part of it you're just doing yourself, but part of it you are doing together, and that's creating some common connection where that's possible. But like all things, I suppose starting from the inside out is useful, and if you can create some of that space and that wellness within yourself, that's going to be at least good for you, if not also good for others, and it'll spread from there as well. If you found this valuable, do like, subscribe, and share. And what's your experience? Do you have any questions or topic suggestions? You can contribute in the comments, on social media using #BodyMindSelf, or at jfl.com.